Well, Eddie from Imminence is joining me now. Eddie, it is a pleasure to be chatting with you today. First and foremost, where in the world are
Yeah,
you? I feel
likewise.
like you've been touring to many, many parts of the globe this year. Where are you right in this moment? And is that a dog sitting next to you, more importantly?
Yes, it's my dog here. I'm at home right now in Sweden.
Nice.
But yeah, we had a pretty busy year.
Yeah, well, you're going to be coming a fair way to come to Australia later this year for Good Things Festival. And as you said, you've had a busy year. You've had festivals, headline shows, supporting some massive bands and selling out shows all over the world. Tell me, being on the road this much, traveling this much, doing all the things and trying to be a human amongst it all, do you guys have a go-through ritual process to keep as gig fit as possible when you're traveling so frequently, especially when you're so far from home?
Uh, no, I don't think so. I mean, everyone in the band might be doing it differently. But I think it's really exciting to have that opportunity that our music can take us to all these places. It's an incredible thing.
Yeah, and another awesome thing, not just for fans, but for you guys as well, is you've been able to be performing more and more of new material from your brand new album, The Black, which unleashed back in April. An incredible record and a snapshot of the monumental power Imminence possessed. I cannot wait to witness some of
Thank
it
you.
in action myself later this year. But for yourself, has there been a standout song from the new album for you personally, now that you've been able to play some of the new material live a bit more? Like, has something emerged as a favorite for you from a live perspective?
Yeah, me personally, I think The Black is my favorite song to perform.
Mm.
Such a cathartic song, um, uh, really dynamic, and it really it creates a different feeling on the stage and in the room.
Yeah. And what about, is there anything, obviously, it's not the first time you've played some of these songs, but is there a fan favorite across the board, like a non-negotiable song that Imminence always have to put in the set? Otherwise, some people, especially your long-term fans, are going to get pissed about it. Like, do you have that kind of must have in our set list no matter what song?
I would say Temptation has become that song for us. And, it's not one of our oldest songs, but since it's been released, it's one of the songs that we become recognized for. And you can see the reaction of the crowd um, every time we play it live. So it's really one of those must-have songs in the set list.
Yeah. Well, and coming back to the Black here, I enjoyed not just listening to it myself, but I was reading some of the stuff that people have said about it. And one of my favorite things is that Ghost Cult have dubbed you as creating your own genre of violin core. Like, I love that you just put core with anything and you've got a new genre. So you're the trailblazer of violin core, but there is such a powerful meshing of chugs and all this beautiful cinematic flourishes, and it just levels up with all those orchestral elements. But it's been really awesome to see you guys as a band really explore these lighter and darker shades along the way as well. And it was also self-released. And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe this was your first and currently only self-released album that you did completely independently. What was the decision process there to drive it from within this time round?
I think we just were looking for a new way to do things. We had released three records with our last record label, and obviously we got some offers from other labels, but we felt like it was time for something new and something to just have a new experience, no matter how it would go. But it felt like at that time it felt like the right decision. There can be some misconception about like people thinking that the new album sounds the way it does because we went independent, but that's not really how we work as a band. We've always written our music from ourselves without any influence from labels or partners. Um, so from this point forward, I can't say, maybe we'll sign with a label for another release. We'll just have to see what we think is the best decision at that time. But the music will always be 100% from us either way.
Yeah. And that's what's awesome. It's still an Imminence album, exactly what you touched on. Like it's not like anything drastically has changed, but it's just so awesome to see just how much growth is still there in the tank. Like there is obviously hopefully no slowing down in the near future. And that
Yeah.
also bring you to Australia. So let's pivot to good things. It is a pretty intense back-to-back couple of days schedule-wise, but is there anything you're hoping to tick off the bucket list while you're here? Is there an Australian experience that we can potentially try to help make happen while you're here?
Yeah, I guess it's not really a vacation for us in that way. But I think that coming over and playing our songs live for our fans in Australia for the first time is more than we can ask for, really.
Yeah, which I think that's a very we can safely say we're going to tick that off. So that's already a really good thing to have on the bucket list.
Yeah.
And speaking of festivals, like this year alone, if I sit here and list all the festivals you've played, we're going to be here for way too long. So let's not do that. But as someone who has played your fair share of festivals and gone to your fair share of festivals, what is something that you can potentially give Good Things Festival attendees advice for to ensure they have a good festival experience? Like, what is something that you could impart that will ensure you have an awesome festival no matter what happens throughout the day? Because they can be a lot, but they're always fun.
So I would say, check out new bands and check out new music that you haven't heard before. You might be positively surprised. There, there's a lot of awesome bands playing in the festival.
Yeah. Yeah, very good advice. And speaking of that, are there any bands that you haven't actually seen that you want to catch live? Are there any old friends that you have played with before that you're looking forward to hanging out with in the compound? What's your vibe on the lineup this year?
We've probably seen every band
Yeah, I was
at some
I'm
point.
looking through it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah, the luxury of being a European band playing all these big festivals.
Yeah.
So we're kind of spoiled with that. Um, but there are some people that, you gotten to know over the years through the internet,
Mm.
and that's going to be really exciting to see them for the first time.
Yeah, it's kind of like meeting like the modern version of meeting your pen pal that you've just been in touch with all these years. And who's your
Yeah,
Things Festival pen pal then?
oh, it's actually, I think you know them, Nathan Johnny.
Yes,
Yeah, that's my
finally.
internet pen pals.
Yes, I love this. Oh, well, I'll be frothing on that. This will be a good meeting of very, very good minds together. So we'll make sure that happens. I guess another thing I would love to know too is being so far from home, it's nice to have like a lot of familiarity and things that you can make yourself feel a bit more comfortable. But what are three items we would find in the Imminence green room? Are there any surprises on your rider, or is it pretty standard these days?
No, we don't have anything crazy on our rider. It's pretty standard. We're not an over excessive band.
Yeah, that's a good way to be. I think it makes it a bit more easy to manage. Well,
Yeah.
in honor of your upcoming trip to Australia, if you are feeling game, I was going to briefly quiz you on some Australian slang to help you potentially have some Aussie slang up your sleeve when you come here. Are you feeling game for me to give you a couple and throw some at you?
Yeah, sure. I'll do my
Okay, so
best.
I'm pretty sure you're very well traveled, so you may very well surprise me and get all three of these. But first up, what is a bogan?
Mm, no, I don't know that one.
So that's because you're not a bogan. It's basically an Australian version of a redneck, depending who you ask, but someone,
Oh,
to be diplomatic, a little bit less sophisticated, depending who you ask. So yeah, it's our version of a redneck is probably the easiest way to say that.
okay.
Next up, what is a bottle-o?
Yeah, I don't know that one either. Sorry.
So we like to put O at the end of most things. So it's literally a bottle shop where you go and buy alcohol.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so like bowling clubs are the bolo, like we have this really strange way of just adding O. So yeah, that one you can say if you need to go, anyone needs to go and buy
Okay.
alcohol. The
But
last one here, if someone is described as being legless, what does that mean?
Legolas. Okay, I haven't heard it before, but if I would guess, is it having something to do with being lazy?
It's kind so it's in more in keeping with the one we just had. It basically means that you're like legitimately properly drunk. You should probably go home and call it a night or keep going, depending who you ask. So often stems from going to the bolo too many times. So that's one we can maybe say
Yeah.
are good things.
Okay.
To keep it balanced before we go, is there one bit of Swedish slang you can teach us so we can potentially make you feel more at home when you're here at Good Things? I mean, I'm sure yours are probably a lot more less alcohol based and a bit more culture.
Um, I guess the most like universally known slang from Sweden is fika.
Fika?
Yeah, fika. Do you know it?
No, educate me.
It's when you're having like a coffee or a tea with something sweet, like a pastry or a cookie. That's a fika, and it's very big in Sweden because we love our coffee here, as you can see.
Okay. Delicious. Well, we also like our coffee here, so we can judge what you think of our coffee when you come here in December, and I will be practicing saying that so I don't butcher it by the time you come
Yeah,
here.
I will.
Awesome.
I promise to be honest what I think about your coffee.
Please do. Well, thank you for being a good sport with that. And I'm hoping we can all make you feel very, very welcome when you do come here from the very long plane trip all the way to Australia for Good Things Festival. We cannot wait to see Imminence live in action. And thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be there.
Yay. We'll see you in a couple of months.
Yeah.
Thank you, Eddie. And thank you, Eddie's puppy, too.